Well, you go to a lot of your videos about your Sarasota, and they'll show you all of the highlights of the city, but that's not how the people in Sarasota live. I thought I'd put something together, show you a kind of typical morning. Myself and Joan were up, and we got up early, which is unusual for us, but we got up early because we wanted to see the sandcastles. You know, it's grown to be a big thing here, as well as sidewalk art in Sarasota. Here's a little of the sidewalk art I photographed a few days ago. I thought I'd insert it here. It's getting bigger and bigger, and it's here you can actually walk around and you can actually get up next to the artist and you can see what's going on. I really like that part. And they're even painting blank walls now, which is terrific, you know. And it started out with some talented people on the beach about 10 or 15 years ago. It's now grown into a national park where you can't even get in to actually see the sandcastles in terms of the sand sculpture, if you know what I mean, you know. And there's Joan before we take our tour of the enclosed area. I don't know whether it's just a sign that we've gone nuts or what. There's one of the dogs who's guarding the little sand sculptures. But here's the sand sculptures. They're really quite extraordinary, and I understand the need to guard them from our young vandals who just love to tear things down, you know. But there has to be another way to do it right here, that in fact there can be ways of doing it without keeping the spectators out. You really can't examine them up close. If you want to pay a little money, you can, but that just shows you how kind of nuts we've gone. So, you know, Joan and myself entertained ourselves by doing some shadows, you know, which is nice to do in the early morning if you don't have anything else to do, and if you're not that creative, or you just get tired of looking at the sandcastles from 5 miles away, then you can do these kind of things and record yourself in odd postures, and they can get pretty extraordinary if you take some time at it with a very, very early morning sun. But anyway, for those of you who have never done this, sand shadows, or street shadows for that matter, if you have a big empty street where you can do them, are pretty extraordinary. I've done some of these in terms of videos, so they get to be very interesting. Well, with all that said, you know, we kind of took off from the beach. That was on your Crescent Beach on SIESTA Key, the world's #1 beach, or at least the nation's #1 beach. There's a couple of Hobie cats. I used to sail those. I love them. And we kind of crossed over. This is the ICW, the Intracoastal Waterway, leading out of the SIESTA Key area. You have a pretty good shot of it there. And then on to the sand flats in Sarasota Bay, which, like Clearwater, is a huge bay. You know, if you go to Venice, you don't have a big bay there. And in terms of your Bradenton is really a kind of river town. It's like Fort Myers. There's really no bay between the mainland and the beach area. Here is very nice. And back in those woods, there's some beautiful old homes. The old Sarasota, you know, they're very deep wooded lots. And now we're downtown at the harbor, and here, of course, are the boats that dock there. And every couple of years, there's a referendum to get rid of the boats or to charge more money for them, and it goes on and on, because the tidy people in town don't want any of these boat people rowing into town and leaving their boats there. I'm an old sailor, so I don't see what the hell the problem is. You know, if you're going to live with a boat, it's not an easy life, you know, and you can see here in the rain, everybody's rowing in probably to have some breakfast or to take a little walk. I did it for years, you know, going between town to town in Florida and up in New England. So that's still going on, that debate, yakety, 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 yak, but it's a nice part of town. I like to see it, you know, it's just travelers going back and forth, and here they are finally coming in once the rain has stopped, and they're bringing their boats in. This is the harbor itself, which is a nice harbor. This is called your City Park or City Island Park. There's another park called City Island Park, which is out on the beach side, but this is a nice park downtown that you can go to, and I think it's one of the nicest things about Sarasota. You can see me just kissing you goodbye here as I fade off into the distance, but it's a nice place to visit. So that's a Sarasota morning, and that's the way people spent it here.